It's not your imagination. Deer are eating more and more of our favorite plants each year. Loss of habitat and all the foods they normally eat in the wild or on farms are a few of the reasons. Even if you live in the city, you might still be dealing with deer. You could pay dearly if you believe these myths. Deer won't touch my roses because they have thorns. Deer won't eat my plants because they are native. Deer don't browse on evergreens. Deer won't be brave enough to come up to my porch or patio to eat the plants there. Deer won't be an issue in my garden because I have a dog. But there's some good news. There are some kinds of plants that deer typically avoid. It's no guarantee, but they are less likely to sample or devour plants that fit these 4 categories. Deer have an extremely good sense of smell. Some people say it's 1,000 times better than a human's. So, those Centera lilacs you think smell so nice are pretty stinky to a deer. They have no interest in dining on them. Cat's meow catmint, boxwood, salvia, bee balm, and lavender are off the menu too. In most cases, it's the scent of the foliage that makes a plant deer resistant. The foliage is what makes up the bulk of the plant that they would eat. So, when you're out plant shopping and wondering if a plant might be deer resistant, rub the leaves gently between your fingers and give them a sniff. If you notice a strong scent, that plant is probably going to be somewhat distasteful to deer. If the foliage feels like sandpaper, it's a pretty safe bet they will pass on it. Obvious ones are brunnera, lungwort, and coneflowers. But with some fuzzy plants, the hairs on the stems and leaves are harder to see. Coleus, verbena, and butterfly bush are some examples. Their foliage feels silky, but to deer, they taste scratchy. Keep in mind that a deer might leave a plant's fuzzy or fragrant leaves alone and just nibble on the flowers. Geraniums are a good example of that. The leaves have a strong scent and are fuzzy, but deer will happily clean up those blooms for you. When the goal is to fill your belly between sunset and sunrise, you go for the big ticket items first. Plants with succulent foliage, fruit, or flowers. Deer tend to ignore plants with finely textured leaves like ornamental grasses or wispy flowers like baby's breath. They would need to consume a whole lot of them to meet their quota, a whopping 6 to 8% of their body's weight every day. When you are out shopping for deer-resistant plants, look for those with finely textured foliage. Here are 10 ideas. If you knew something was poisonous, or at the very least would give you a stomachache, you wouldn't eat it, right? Deer intuitively know this about plants. They have a good memory too, so if they get sick after eating something, they'll probably remember. Keep in mind that deer preferences vary by region. They are also greatly dependent on what other food sources are available nearby. What they typically leave alone in Tulsa may be their favorite snack in Toledo. Check with your local garden center or your neighbors to see which plants are safest to plant in your area if you have deer.